Hello everyone and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. Before we begin, I'm posing a question to basically everyone out there who has played all of these games before. So the next one we're going to do is Apollo Justice, which from what I can tell is a new protagonist, and my question is, do I need to finish this game before starting that one? I would like to bring in a guest for that game, but recording time is a little limited, so if I can start sooner, then I can probably stick to the 4 uploads per week. Otherwise, it might become the weekend series, and we'll do 3. But we'll see. I'll cross that bridge when we get there. But my question to everyone is, can I start that one before I finish this, or will I be missing things? Will it spoil things? So yeah, just let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate that. So back to the game. Something that was up with the prescription. It's missing. Our supposed victim went and got it right before going to the restaurant, but it wasn't anywhere to be found. Which leads me to believe that the victim is not who we think he is. But I guess we'll find out.
Due consideration wasn't given to the victim's prescription in the previous trial. Witness, why do you always overlook such vital pieces of evidence?
I guess that's the most careless thing I've done so far, huh? The victim was killed by poison, and the victim's medicine mysteriously disappeared. The victim's own prescription could have been the lethal poison itself.
Order! Well, Mr. Godot, what do you have to say to that?
Ha! That's all. What?
Read for the court the name of the clinic on the prescription bag, if you will.
What's the clinic's name got to do with anything? New ear... Otolaryngology... Oh god, forget it. Clinic?
Just what kind of illness was the victim suffering from?
I know something with his ears.
Mr. Godot. Hardly an illness, Your Honor. More like you could say... More like a bitter war wound, you could say. Oh, war wound? The day before the incident, Mr. L found himself in a fight. He took a blow to the side of the head and ruptured his eardrum.
He ruptured his eardrum?
Then what on earth was the prescription he was given?
It was a cream that was to be applied topically to his ear canal, not to be ingested. That doesn't mean it wasn't ingested. What? It's mentioned in the autopsy report if you read the fine print. They found traces of the medication in the victim's left ear.
Yes, here it is, in very fine print.
It seems Mr. L correctly applied some of his medication while he was at Tribulations. Therefore, it would be absurd to believe that he would have eaten his medication. Not really. Or that, like, someone didn't feed it to him?
It seems this medication is irrelevant to this case after all.
No. Nick, if you don't think of something quick, it'll all be over. She's right. But I can't get away with any old weak objection. What should I do? I'm gonna push this and hope it doesn't hurt. Only moments ago, Mr. Godot made the following statement. It seems Mr. L correctly applied some of his medication while he was at Tribulations. If that's the case, then why was the medication not found at the scene of the crime? Dun dun dun.
But the medication in question was for topical use inside the ear canal.
Which would probably make ingesting it really, really bad if that were to happen. That doesn't change the fact that it could not be found at the crime scene. However insignificant it may seem, it's a lawyer's duty to pursue the truth.
You know as well as I do that the medication is irrelevant. It hardly seems likely that a prescription drug would contain potassium cyanide.
It hardly seems likely that the coffee the waitress served would contain it either. But it did. The possibility is undeniable.
That's enough. Mr. Godot, is the detective the only witness the prosecution wishes to call? Mr. Godot?
I got my own witness I'd like to call, sir. It's the old man who was there at the restaurant on the day of the murder. Victor Kudo, the pigeon hater?
Very well. The matter of the disappearing medication seems a little more than trivial at best. However, it wasn't explored at all in the previous trial, and that is something that bothers me.
Yay, good job, Nick.
We will now adjourn for a 10-minute recess, after which we will hear the prosecution's next witness.
Ha! I suppose this means I'll just have to finish you off in my last 6 cups.
Court is adjourned for recess.
No, shoot, I didn't realize we were close to a break. Phew, that was close. Tell me about it. I nearly died in there. That's my line, sir. No, it's my line. I think I really did die a little bit. Looks like we all nearly died in there. I can't believe Detective Gumshoe. How could he betray us like that? Huh? He said he'd help me. But he totally set me up. I don't think he meant to do that, Maggie. He was backed into a corner. I mean, the guy's gotta do his job, right? It's okay, I know all about lies and betrayal. I've had them my whole life. But it really hurt this time. It felt like someone punched me hard in the stomach. I hate that guy. I don't ever want to see him again. Poor Gumshoe. So the next witness is going to be that old guy from the park, right? Yeah, Mr. Kudo. Lover of waitress outfits and projectile seeds. I bet he's going to be really stubborn. I mean, he's pretty set in his ways, you know. Yeah, he's a big old grouch. Are you going to be able to handle him, Nick? Yeah, I can take whatever he throws at me. Even those never-ending bird seeds. Can we bring back... We're gonna need Mia in the waitress costume again. He's just gonna throw seeds at us until that happens.
Court will now reconvene for the trial of Maggie Bird. Mr. Godot, your next witness, please.
The prosecution calls the lucky old-timer who caught the show over a cup of coffee. Will the witness please take the stand? Name an occupation, if you don't mind. Well, shoot. His voice, the judge's voice, and Godot's voice are all so similar.
The name's Victor Kudo, born and bred in the land of the rising sun. Honor and duty are what make me. Mind you, I can be quite emotional at times too.
You don't need to hear about that, Mr. Kudo. Just tell the court your occupation.
My occupation? Listen, young'un. How much cause do you think there is for kimono embroidery here?
Kimono embroidery?
That's what I do, or did back in Japan. I embroidered family crests on kimonos. My ancestors were embroidering kimonos before the country even existed.
Wow, real craftsmen. They're a dying breed. Hey, maybe he could embroider my costume sometime.
Anyway, like I said, there's not much demand for that kind of thing here. So I had to take a job working in the cash register at a burger joint, pretending to smile.
That burger joint would have been better off putting him in the kitchen.
Now then, witness, where were you in the restaurant at the time of the incident?
Oh, yes, I was eating some seeds over a cup of Javasino.
Seeds? What do you think these are, I see.
So you saw everything that happened, Gramps.
Did I? Oh, yes. Yes, I did. I saw it all.
Then please tell the court. We're all ears.
Sure. I'll tell you every last detail.
He's really getting into this. What I witnessed.
The young man was reading the sports paper. The serving girl brought him a Javasino, but she put something in it. That man took one sip, looked like he was in terrible pain, and then collapsed. That's the serving girl, right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. Mr. Kudo, she is not a serving girl. Please refer to her as a waitress. Ka! You're as bad as the rest of them. All these newfangled words. What's wrong with old-fashioned ones, Newfangled? All this talk of radios and glasses, it's a wireless and spectacles, I tell you. Excuse me? Listen to me, everyone. Don't forget the old values. Don't let the good old days slip away. Well, I think it's time to begin the cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. I cannot figure out this guy's voice. So you saw the victim then. You saw Mr. Glenn Alg.
I wanted to know if Guts and Brawn retained his championship or not.
So he was looking at the sports paper that the victim was reading, huh? At the location in question, there are partitions between tables on the same side of the restaurant, right?
So what if there are?
If you say you could see the victim, that means you were sitting at the table on the other side of the restaurant, correct?
Ka! I go to that place to drink Javasino. I don't go to sit. I don't remember what table I was sitting at.
You mean you go there to eye the waitress?
Sir,
What? Mr. Kudo, that is a very grave accusation. Are you sure about what you saw?
Victor Kudo never makes mistakes. I dot every T and cross every I.
See.
My eyesight's fine. The doctor said I only need spectacles for reading and driving.
And his eyes are only really fine when he's scoping out a waitress.
And I saw what the serving girl put in the Javasino as well.
But I know it's coming up and something tells me I'm not going to like it. Press harder. Your Honor, we need more clarification on what was put into the victim's coffee. I'd like to ask that the witness add what he knows about this to his testimony.
I agree. No witness, will you enlighten us, please? Sure. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there.
Did she really put that next to the coffee?
You got me, boy. She took out some out. She took some out of a small brown bottle and sprinkled it in.
Couldn't she have been adding sugar?
Sugar in a small brown bottle like that? Like that? Witness, could you please describe the bottle in more concrete terms? Ha! A bottle like this, perhaps. Ooh, there it is. That's the one. That's the bottle of potassium cyanide, I presume. So what did the accused put into the coffee? I think it's clear, don't you?
He took just one sip?
You youngins, you waste everything. Those Javasinos cost $8. In the good old days, we would have drank every last drop, eaten the cup, and then died.
Congratulations. You have earned the title of battiest man to grace a courtroom. I don't know that that's true.
So it was an immediate death. Well, with the potassium cyanide, I suppose that's possible. Oh yes, he slumped over without so much as a twitch. I felt the Javasino I just drank turned sour in my stomach. Oh yes, I know that feeling. And the waitress, I presume she is,
You said I remember her well in reference to the waitress. Did she have any particular features that you can identify her by?
Particular features? It's a disgrace, that's what it is.
Sorry?
You can see all the way up to her, you know.
Again, please enlighten us. What? Yeah, that's what I thought.
She's practically naked in that uniform.
So the particular feature you recognize about the waitress is her outfit? But anyone could wear just such a uniform, even me.
Mr. Wright, please spare the court any further mental anguish from that image.
It's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Don't get all excited, Nick. You gotta keep yourself together. I guess I got a bit carried away.
Ka! One of the things I recognize about her, too.
He seems pretty sure of himself. What should I do? He's got nothing. Sure, you saw a waitress take the coffee over to the victim. But what matters is whether that waitress was Maggie Bird or not.
Quite right. Mr. Kudo, these other features that you recognize about the defendant, I would ask that you add them to your testimony. Sure. There's a ribbon in her hair and her apron straps were loose.
You do seem to remember several details about her appearance, but what about the most crucial detail of all, her face?
Ka! As if I wouldn't remember that. The witness noticed the straps on the accused apron. He's unlikely to make a mistake about her face. That's right. I can even tell you the color of the ribbon in her hair. It was red. So you see, there's nothing wrong with the witness's eyesight.
There's no doubt he remembers the waitress pretty well. What should I do? I got the feeling there's something more to this somehow. Ask about the straps, ask about the waitress's back. I don't know how either one helps me. I guess we'll ask about her back. The identifying features you described are all things you would see from the back.
So what?
Is it possible that you never saw the waitress from the front at all?
Objection!
He's got you there, Gramps.
Wait, why would you object? People normally talk about facial features when they're asked to describe someone. But this witness's testimony is nothing but straps and ribbons.
This is harassment. I tell you, I'm not obsessed with straps and ribbons. I'm just telling you what I saw. Mr. Kudo, the court requests that you add details about any identifying features you observed from the front, that is, to your testimony. Sure.
This old man's testimony is getting longer and longer. If I can't find a hole in it soon, it'll get even longer, I bet.
Wasn't anything that caught my interest about her when I saw her from the front.
Oh, so you did. Okay. You didn't find anything to be distinct, but you did clearly see the waitress's face, yes?
No question about it. I didn't come this far to back down now. Victor Kudo never backs down.
It's not the answer I was looking for, but okay. This has turned into a matter of pride for old CD now, I guess. I wonder if he really did see Maggie's face or not. I thought, we need some concrete proof. Proof that the old guy didn't see the waitress clearly from the front. Okay. You think old CD really saw Maggie do it? Well, he probably had his eye on the waitress the whole time. That's why he was there. But he was there for the cute outfits, right? Not the waitress. I guess? Huh, she makes a good point, though. Hey, did I just say something clever? I wonder if the waitress Mr. Kudo saw really was Maggie. I have my doubts now. But didn't Maggie say that she brought him coffee? Did she bring him the first coffee and then he died after the second one? That's what we have to figure out, Nick. Alright, so we need to present something. The young man was reading the sports paper. The serving girl brought him a Javasino, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there. The man took one sip of it, looked like he was in terrible pain, and then collapsed. That's the serving girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. There was a ribbon in her hair, and her apron straps were loose. Oh. There wasn't anything that caught my interest about her when I saw her from the front. I would say glasses, but I feel like that's not it. So I'm assuming we're going to need to present evidence. So what do we got? Magazine clipping. Not going to help. Need something about the waitresses, I think. Maybe on floor plans. Wait. Hold on. The young man was reading the sports paper. The serving girl brought him a Javasino, but she put something in it. I wish it would show that scene again. I'm looking at the floor plans. Maybe this isn't where they're going with this, but... So in theory, he needed to be in that bottom right booth, but then he would have seen the waitress's face. The other way... I guess he could have seen everything as if he was in the bottom left booth. But if he's in the top left booth, then there's no way that he was able to see. And then the waitress comes out of the kitchen. All he would, if he's in that bottom right booth, all he sees is her face, like the entire time. Makes me believe he's in the bottom left booth. I don't know if that tells me, or if that matters right now, but I'm just like trying to piece together what I can. Prime photo. Okay, there we go. See, this, I'm assuming this is what the old man's like vantage point was. Like roughly. Oh, okay. I forgot about that. Objection! Mr. Kudo, I would like you to please take a look at this.
Ah, the filthy thing would suit filth like you just perfectly. Actually, it reminds me of what my grandson looks like just after he's done eating.
Have you ever seen this before?
Of course I haven't. Do you think I'd forget something as dirty as that? Well, you half-witted clot.
Fantastic.
What is it? Ever since I said you half-witted clot, there's been an eerie silence in here.
Mr. Kudo, this apron is the apron worn by the defendant on the day of the poisoning. And as you just said yourself, you wouldn't forget something like this. Which means if you had really seen this apron before... Yes, you know what I'm getting at. You couldn't have possibly seen the waitress from the front.
Oops.
Got him.
Witness! You can't just oops your way out of this. Ha! Well. Looks like we finally have a genuine trial on our hands. Listen, Wright. Here are the facts. On the day of the incident, there was only one waitress in the restaurant. That being the defendant, Miss Maggie Bird. Exactly. And when that one waitress put the poison into the coffee cup, this little guy was watching. I hope you understand the gravity of the situation, Mr. Kudo. The fate of the defendant may rest on what you say you remember seeing. Just tell the court exactly what you saw, Gramps. You can rely on me, Captain. My noggin is perfect working order. I can't remember a single occasion where I forgot what a burger a customer wanted.
He can't remember. Probably more like he messed up so many times he's blocking it out.
Very well, let's test just how good your memory and attention to detail is, Mr. Kudo. Tell us what you remember about the victim. He was another of those pesky young types, wearing a broken pair of spectacles. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and the noisy brat kept rustling its pages. The young man was listening to the wireless. I remember that well.
Wait, I thought you didn't like those terms.
Then the serving girl in question brought over the Javasino. The little fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. The testimony we have just heard was to test how credible the witness's memory is. It seems to me that he remembers the victim in a great deal of detail. Oh yes, I hate those you-know-what types who are so vague about everything. How are you going to handle this, Nick? We only need to do one thing. We just need to prove that the old man's memory is shot. Just trip him up, you mean? Isn't that kind of cruel? I suppose, but it's what I do best. Wearing a broken fuzzy? They aren't broke. Well, alright. I guess I could see how he would think that. Spectacles. Dark glasses to you. One of the lenses was green, but the other was broken. Newfangled rubbish. That's what I remember him so well. Did have some kind of lens over his left eye, but I wouldn't have called it a pair of glasses. He seems to have been wearing some rather modern-looking shades. Perhaps I should take to wearing some and rival Mr. Godot's sharp appearance. Ah, you better come up with something sharp and quick. Guess I'll wait and see if I should challenge him about the spectacles. The newspaper was a sports paper, was it? That young hooligan, I asked him, can you even read without fidgeting? I'm supposed to be able to read the back page with all that rustling going on. I needed to find out if Gustin Braun retained his championship title. This is paper, not yours. If you wanted to know so bad, why didn't you just buy your own? What are you looking at me like that for? How dare you judge me? Ow, ow, ow. Gustin Braun got beaten yesterday, by the way. Anyway. Remember that well, okay. The wireless. Another decadent young rascal. In my day, it was one or the other. Read the paper or listen to the wireless. Oh boy. Using an earpiece. It's selfish, that's what it is. I was straining my ear, but I couldn't catch any of it. Was he that desperate to listen to the radio? What are you looking at me like that for? How dare you feel sorry for me? Ow, ow! And the serving girl in question brought over the Javasino. You mean the waitress who you only saw from behind, right? You're one of those, are you? You never let anything go, isn't that right? Maybe. What does it matter if I saw her from the front or from behind? My eyes... something. Ow, ow! We're not pushing it until I got some hard evidence. The little fidget picked the cup with his free hand and took a sip. His free hand? Yes. Which hand was that? Weren't you listening before, cloth ears? He said he was rustling the paper with his right hand, didn't I? His free hand wasn't his right hand, then which hand was it, you moron? Ow, ow! Ha! Perhaps the great Mr. Wright has 3 hands. Yeesh, I was only asking. No need to gang up on me and treat me like a freak. The whole point of this cross-examination is to establish just one thing. That this little guy's memory has more holes than a slice of Swiss. I guess we just need to find a contradiction in his testimony somewhere, huh? Anything will do. Even the smallest detail. We just need one mistake and he's ours. Alright, again, what evidence do we have? Prescription. Bag was empty. Potassium cyanide, that doesn't really help. That also doesn't help. Didn't say anything about the lottery tickets. Or like him jumping up. I feel like that's kind of important. Coffee contained potassium cyanide covered in Maggie's fingerprints. Oh, wait a second. I think this picture contradicts his last statement. I guess the cup could have like rolled after it fell.
Because there it looks like he was holding it in his right hand. Which I believe he said that his right hand was holding the paper. Wearing a broken pair of spectacles, he had a newspaper in his right hand, and the noisy brat kept rustling his pages. The young man was listening to the wireless. I remember that well. Serving girl in question brought over the Javasino. The fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. I have nothing else to work with. But he's not saying right hand here, though. That was just, that didn't get added. I'd like to solve this before calling it an episode, but we may just have to, because I feel like I'm going to be staring at this for a while. The whole point of this cross-examination is to establish this one thing. Elegant's memory is more holes than Swiss cheese. You need to find the contradiction. Because I could also make the argument, pesky young types wearing a broken pair of spectacles. Can I present? I don't think I'm going to win on that, because I think we've established that he just doesn't understand that. I think I'm gonna try it because I don't have any other ideas. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and the noisy brat kept rustling his pages. I don't think it gets presented here. It's free hand and took a sip. Nope. The witness's statement is clearly faulty, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, but I can see nothing faulty. Unfortunately, I will have to penalize you, Mr. Wright.
I must be on the wrong track. Little Fidget picked up the cup. Did I present the cup? Oh, I'm scared. Mr. Kudo, do you remember what you were told at the start of this testimony? That this was a way of testing the credibility of your memory?
I know. There's nothing wrong with my memory. I tell you nothing. If I got anything wrong, I'll eat these seeds and sing the pigeon song. Care to tell us where this is going, Wright?
We'll just have to find out where this is going in the next episode. I'm not sure how much longer this section is, but... Man, this guy... Especially since it, like, keeps adding to his testimony. Oh, that one was a little bit rough to try to figure out. But we got there. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.